Hi everyone, next one of my little videos about reading the Bible. I'd like to talk today about the genre of the Bible. And what I'd really like us to try and get across in the next few minutes is that this, my Bible, is not a book. Which is of course a ridiculous thing to say because it's clearly a book. It has a spine, it has pages, it has, fine, this one's got a leather cover, not all books do, but it's a book. And yet at the same time, it isn't. Think about it like this. You pick up a newspaper and you pick up a novel. And you immediately know they're different, well, because they look different. The newspaper is just paper, it's quite large, it's got pictures, it's got a kind of particular kind of ink and smell on it. The novel probably has a picture on the front, it's bound, it looks quite different. They're both writing, but we know that we approach them differently. We read them quite differently. We expect them to contain different sorts of things because of the kind of writing that they are. And we have a problem with the Bible because we think the Bible works the same. We pick it up and we look at it and we smell it and we think it looks like a Bible, smells like a Bible, probably a Bible. I guess the type of writing that this one is, we've got the newspaper, we've got the novel, this one's probably Bible. That's not quite right. It's a book that contains many kinds of writing. And we find lots of different kinds of writing in the Bible because it's a book containing 66 different books written by over 40 authors over a period of 1,500 or more years, containing 6 or 7 different genres, different kinds of writing. And it can be really helpful to know which one we're reading, otherwise we can read a part of the Bible and be the equivalent of the person who treats their novel like a newspaper and their newspaper like a novel. So to know what's going on, we need to know what kind of writing it is. We've got to figure it out. And it's easy enough to figure out which parts of the Bible are history, because they read like history, they're narratives, or which parts of the Bible are songs, because they look like songs, they're kind of laid out like them. Figuring that difference out, knowing that, this psalm, this is a song, and this part of 1 Samuel, this is a bit of history, that's not so hard. But the difference between, say, prophetic literature and apocalyptic literature, even if you know what those two terms mean, much harder. Knowing the difference between Zechariah and Malachi, and that they are different kinds of writing, despite both being called prophets, if you read the headings in the Bible, a little bit trickier. And most books fit into one particular category, but occasionally there are books that slip into another. Daniel starts off as a prophet, turns into an apocalypse. Paul mostly writes letters to churches, and yet at times it starts to quote songs. And of course, we're going to read those songs slightly differently to how we might read the rest of his letter. It's important that we start to get our head around it. Because friends, what we really want you to do is take God at his word. And we believe that we should take the Bible literally, but what we mean by literally is according to its genre, according to the type of writing that it is. That we should take God at his word, that all of the Bible is God-breathed, that all of it is useful for our teaching and our instruction, and all of it is true. But in order to do all those things, we need to think about what genre it is. So when, for example, to pick a somewhat trite example, the Bible says that the earth has a face, talks about the face of the earth, we realise that it's a metaphor and not trying to imply that the earth has a nose. It is helpful that we figure out what kind of writing we're reading so that we know that a particular passage is meant to be poetic and look to understand what it's trying to say. So that we notice that it's using something like a Hebraic parallel, which is when there's a repetition of one thing 2 times using different words, which is a poetic device in the Hebrew language used throughout the Old Testament, sometimes even in the New Testament, realizing that it's not talking about 2 different things, but that this is the same thing happening twice because of the kind of writing that it is. And we're going to think about how we can put together some videos to try and help you explore some of that. But how about in the comments, you tell me if there are any parts of the Bible that you find it difficult to identify what kind of writing it is, and we'll start to have a bit of a conversation about it.